This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, the police team up with a local agency to reduce the instances of certain types of driving infringements. Hundreds of track and field athletes focus on a win and the potential to make it into the Olympics. And a local veterinary practice becomes one of just 3 in the country to win a top industry award. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Rebecca Dupree. Every day, local police apprehend about half a dozen drivers for offences relating to safety belts and child restraints. There have been more than 15,000 cases in the wider Dunedin area over the last 7 years, and officers are teaming up with a family agency to curb the crime.
Buckling in for a safe ride. Police and Plunket staff are checking seatbelts and child restraints in local vehicles as part of a national campaign.
We're just wanting to check on people's car seat installations. We're wanting to get the information out there that you need to keep your children safe in car seats, and there's lots of different designs and brands that will fit each car.
This kind of campaign is run locally each year as part of a nationwide push to remind motorists about using car restraints. Police regularly ticket drivers for not wearing seatbelts or for having unrestrained passengers, including children. In the wider Dunedin area, the monthly average number of offences is just under 200.
We've run operations at a number of intersections in Dunedin this week, and unfortunately there's been evidence come out of that to suggest that the message isn't getting through to everyone. That's disappointing.
He says it's ultimately about saving lives and using education to prevent tragedies. That's also a major component for Plunket, and staff are sharing advice on how children can be properly seated for their own survival.
Children must be in a restraint. Seatbelts aren't for little children, they're for the older children. They have to be over a certain weight to be able to activate a seatbelt. So the main focus is, again, keeping the children safe. Yeah.
In the last 7 years, more than 15,000 offences have been recorded locally in relation to vehicle restraints. Police say compliance is generally pretty good, but breaches of the law are increasing. Rosie Mannins, 39 Dunedin News.
Police are investigating the overnight arson of vehicles within a motel car park. 3 cars were burnt out in the parking area of the McCure Leisure Lodge on Duke Street. Willowbank firefighters were called to the incident at about 4:30 a.m. and spent more than an hour on site. Investigators were still examining the scene mid-morning. It appears 1 car was deliberately lit, causing severe damage to the others. 1 car was a Fiat and the other 2 were Toyotas. Police say they're working on a positive line of inquiry and are keen to hear from anyone with information. More than 500 athletes have converged on the Caledonian ground for the start of the New Zealand Track and Field Championships. The country's top competitors will vie for glory in a range of sporting pursuits over the next 3 days, and there's much more at stake than just winning.
Giving it everything they've got. Hundreds of athletes from around the country are at the Caledonian ground for day 1 of the New Zealand Track and Field Championships. There's a lot on the line for those competing, with the event a qualifier for the upcoming Olympic and Paralympic Games.
Athletes who are going to, in consideration for selection for Rio, have to compete at the trials unless they've got dispensation. So we have got a lot of the big names that are competing, who will be part of our Rio team, Olympic and Paralympic team, and they've got to perform at this meet to actually, gain selection. So it's hugely important.
The city last hosted the National Championship event 5 years ago. Bates says holding it locally this year was made possible thanks to necessary improvements at the Caledonian facility.
That's great. The city have got behind us. The council have done a wonderful job in preparing the ground, done some major upgrades for us to be able to hold these championships, and certainly without their support we wouldn't have them here in Dunedin. So for us to have them in Dunedin and in the South Island, it's great.
The majority of competitors have travelled from Auckland and Canterbury, but there are also more than 60 Otago athletes taking part. For one Hawke's Bay race walker, getting ready has been an intense undertaking.
We do a lot of long sort of training sessions, usually between an hour and a half. Yeah, lots of different things. Do gym work and rep sessions, and of course long walks.
There are several standout events happening over the next few days. Champion shot putter Valerie Adams will be looking to claim her 15th national title. The championships run until Sunday afternoon. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Fewer local youth are appearing in court, as shown in the latest figures released by the government. The Ministry of Justice is reporting a 75% reduction in the number of children and young people being hauled before judges in Otago and South Canterbury. That decline has happened over the last 9 years, shown in actual data from 2007. Back then, 261 youth aged 10 to 16 were taken to court. The number fell to just 63 in the last financial year. Nationally, there's been a 61% drop in the number of youth court cases over that time. A local veterinary clinic has received a rare industry accolade. It's one of just 3 centres in the country to be awarded the top standards in animal treatment and care, but staff are remaining humble despite the recognition.
Administering top quality care. It's business as usual at the Humanimals Clinic, despite the centre receiving the country's highest standards in veterinary practice.
At the beginning of February, we were audited against the hospital standards of the New Zealand Veterinary Association best practice hospital standards, and they were happy that we met all of those standards, barring about 5 little tweaks that we had to do. We tweaked those through February and we got finally signed off.
The clinic had to undergo a series of rigorous checks to ensure the standards were met. The New Zealand Veterinary Association audited the clinic in 19 different categories, including surgery, anaesthesia and dentistry. But there was more to it than just facilities, as staff also played a part.
The commitment required to get to it is much longer term. So, for instance, we could say, yes, we need to buy this, this and this, and we'll put money aside and we'll do that, and that might take 6 months. But one of the big things we have to do is have at least 2 of the veterinarians with advanced qualifications.
This local vet joins the highest calibre alongside clinics in Nelson and Palmerston North. Staff are remaining humble about the award, saying they're not better than anyone else, they've just gone through the process.
The public have to decide what level of practice they want to visit and they want to embark on, and all we can do is demonstrate that this is the level that we practice at. Many other practices may do the same thing, they just haven't gone through the auditing system.
Now Humanimals has met the standards, staff are considering changing their practice name from clinic to hospital. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, one of the city's most well-known studies becomes the focus of an exhibition, and a local student shares her experiences of life in Nepal.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
Are you looking to add a new dimension to your home? A Christie's glasshouse and shed will add value to your property and increase your gardening pleasure, and can be easily ventilated during the day. A Christie's garden shed is a brilliant addition to your backyard, adding to your storage capacity.
The great Kiwi glasshouse and shed come in all shapes and sizes, are manufactured in Dunedin and come in a range of nature-inspired colour steel colours or metallic zinc aluminum finish.
Choose the Kiwi shed that has stood the test of time. Choose Christie.
Don't miss the home show. Lots of great ideas, great prizes, great deals, kitchens, bathrooms, furnishings and lots more. The Epicentre Moore FM Arena, 4th, 5th, 6th of March. Adults $10, children free. See you at the home show.
Mosgiel Mowers Plus can help you with products to make your garden maintenance jobs easier. Lawn mowers, ride-ons, chainsaws, line trimmers. Sales and service are our specialty. Mosgiel Mowers Plus. Phone 489 3572 22B Gordon Road, Mosgiel.
The team at Caltex North care more about you than just putting fuel in your tank. They care about you and your family. At the Caltex Valley Workshop, the skilled service team care about your safety, extending the life of your car and helping you live more economically. There's a range of modern equipment to give comprehensive warranty fitness checks and servicing to your vehicle. Come visit your only local in North East Valley and receive 10% off when you book your warrant and service together. That's your friendly Caltex Valley Workshop, 134 North Road, or book online at caltexvalley.co.nz.
Grandad loved his family and surfing, in that order. He taught me to surf, and we spent a lot of time in the water together over the years. When he died, I strapped the camera to the nose of his old board and filmed the paddle out at St. Clair. Gillian's played the video on the big screen at his funeral. Grandad would have loved having everyone come out one last surf with him.
Gillian's Funeral Services, helping families celebrate the lives of their loved ones for generations. Gillians.co.nz.
New Zealand Beeswax Limited are the quintessential beeswax, woodware and beekeeping suppliers. From the amateur beekeeper to the commercial operator, New Zealand Beeswax Limited has the quantity to meet your needs. For great prices, great service New Zealand-wide, contact New Zealand Beeswax Limited on 03 693 9189 or visit www.beeswax.co.nz. For professional, reliable and approachable service where your dream kitchen design can become an affordable reality, contact the team at Kitchens for Less. Call 455 9973 or visit us online.
Tune in on Thursday for Motorsport Night on Dunedin Television.
Here's something else to look forward to sinking your teeth into every weekend with the Otago Daily Times, the Weekend Mix, your guide to what's hot in fashion, entertainment, food and more. New weekend magazine in your ODT. Pick up your copy this Saturday.
Welcome back. The receivership of a locally owned accommodation company is being wound up after almost 6 years. Stevens Motels Limited was placed in the hands of receivers in July 2010, owing almost $400,000 to the Southland Building Society. That debt remains outstanding despite the sale of all assets and property worth over $1 million. The company is owned by Colin and Julie Stevens of Dunedin. Insolvency Management Limited finished with the case last week, although substantial debt and liabilities remain. And on that note, let's take a look at today's markets. And the NZX 50 has closed the day up 37 points, now 6,418. The Dow Jones is up 45 points. And to the exchange rates, and the Kiwi dollar closes the week up against the major currencies that we follow. One of the most comprehensive studies of human development has been conducted locally over several decades. Now it's forming the subject of a new public exhibition, and Toitu Otago Settlers Museum curator Sean Brosnahan joins us to explain. Good evening.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks. Now tell us about the Dunedin study.
Well, the Dunedin study is an outstanding piece of scientific research that's been going on here in Dunedin, just quietly behind the scenes, I suppose, for over 40 years. It was begun in 1975 and it looked at all the babies that have been born in Dunedin in 1972-73 from April to March, a 1 year period, and all those that they could track and get signed up to the program were studied then, just over 1,000 people, and they've been following that 1,000 people all through their lives ever since.
How is it being showcased in an exhibition?
Well, that's an interesting question really, because how do you showcase all the scientific research and the findings they've made? The way we decided to do it is to both analyse the key findings of some of the major scientific papers of the study throughout that 4-decade period and interweave it with the lifeways of that group of people who were born in 1972. So looking at the world through the lens of those babies and tracking them all through their lives, looking at all the things that made up their daily lives, particularly the material culture side of things.
What things are being prepared for display?
Well, from the science point of view, we've got digital screens where you'll be able to burrow down and investigate all the different findings to do with mental health and sexuality and drug abuse and lungs and hearts and teeth and all those things that they've looked at. But complementing that, we have room sets. So if you were born or lived through the 70s, 80s, 90s and 2000s, you'll be able to look at these room sets and they'll be full of the material culture of everyday life in that period. And we think it's going to have a very strong nostalgia pulse. Well, that's certainly the way I've been experiencing it and developing it.
Are the actual participants of the study on display as well?
No. One of the key things about the Dunedin study is the anonymity of the participants. They guard that very closely. So throughout the exhibition, we have got lots of photographs and lots of artefacts, and they have been supplied by people who were born between 1971 and 73, but not necessarily people who are in the study. So some people were in the study and some of their images might be on display, but we don't identify anybody or where anything's come from. And where there are actually photographs of people being tested as part of the study, we've blurred the faces out. So you won't be able to tell, just because you see a face in the exhibition, that person is definitely a study participant or not.
What are you hoping that the public will get out of this?
I hope they'll get a lot of pride in the fact that this absolutely internationally famous and world-shaking study is based here, and very much part of its success has been the fact that it's got this Dunedin base. There's particular qualities about a small city like this that has enabled the very high retention rate of the original participants, which is the key factor about the Dunedin study internationally. No other study around the world has been managed to have such a high rate of getting everybody to come back time after time. They'll get a lot of pride from that, and they'll get a sense in which that Dunedin-based study has had ramifications all around the world, so we can be very proud of that.
What was the most challenging part of putting this project together?
Probably working out a way to make the science sort of pump for ordinary people, so that we nestle the science amidst the lifeways. I think that was the key to sort of cracking how we could present this story.
Are you expecting the study participants themselves to pop in and check it out?
Oh, I certainly am, although we won't necessarily know who they are. We found that as we develop this exhibition, we can't move into Dunedin without tripping over people who are in the study or people who are related to people in the study. Every time we go anywhere to do anything, oh yeah, so-and-so's in that study. So people know a little bit about it, but they don't know enough, so we're hoping to add to their knowledge.
When will it be open to the public?
Saturday week, so I think it's the 19th, is it? Is it 19th of March? So just a couple of weeks, we've got a little bit more work to do to put it all together, and then we open it up and it'll be up for a year.
A year? That's plenty of time to get in and see what's going on. Sean Brosnahan, curator from Toitu Otago Settlers Museum, thanks very much for your time. After the break on 39 Dunedin News, a local teenager's perspective changes after volunteering in an earthquake-damaged country. And we'll take a look at the results of this week's online poll.
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success, and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new all-black pack. Call now for the Sportsville special, 0800 502 402.
Ecrotech Limited have been supplying beekeeping equipment and honey products in New Zealand for over 100 years. A specialist manufacturer of hiveware and plastic products for the beekeeping industry. They are the leading supplier of beekeeping equipment nationwide. For all your beekeeping needs, visit ecrotech.co.nz or call 0800 117766.
Don't miss the home show. Lots of great ideas, great prizes, great deals. Kitchens, bathrooms, furnishings and lots more. The Epicentre More FM Arena, 4th, 5th, 6th of March. Adults $10, children free. See you at the home show.
Pallet fires are growing in popularity in Otago with people who want a clean and efficient form of home heating. The sight of a burning flame without the problems of chopping, stacking and carting wood around is a winner. Pallet fires, so easy, so efficient.
Mobility Scooters Otago. Mobility scooters, new and used, electric manual wheelchairs, strollers and walkers. Free home demonstration and delivery. Call Tony on 03 455 2875 or visit our showroom, 211 Canudwood Street, opposite Westpac.
Bring some more joy into your world by adopting one of our adult animals at SPCA Otago. Call now on 473 8252. Please adopt a pet now. They will love you forever.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Tune in on Thursday for Motorsport Night on Dunedin Television.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Welcome back. A local high school student has returned to the city after volunteering in a remote part of Nepal. The Otago Girls High School pupil spent 4 weeks in a village repairing damage from last year's major earthquake, and it's changed her perspective.
Souvenirs from an overseas trip. This Year 13 student is looking over the remnants of her journey to Nepal. But it wasn't for a holiday. She volunteered alongside other teenagers to help a Nepalese village recover after last year's devastating earthquake.
We went over to Nepal to help rebuild the orphanage there that had been affected by the earthquake, and we were in a village called Ulubari, and we were there for about 4 weeks of the trip.
She and 23 other young volunteers from New Zealand and Australia were helping to rebuild the remote orphanage. The teens spent 4 weeks living amongst Nepalese people, learning their culture and helping them to recuperate from the natural disaster.
Each day we were just at the orphanage, which was quite isolated from the city and the village, but we would occasionally go there and get to know the culture and get to know the locals. And we were mainly just bricklaying and making a safe structure for the orphanage.
More than 9,000 people died and thousands of homes were destroyed as a result of the April quake. Volunteers say the effects are ongoing as many people remain homeless, jobless and without families almost a year on. Arson says being exposed to the aftermath was a real eye-opener.
We heard the stories from the missionary, and he said that they had all lost all of their family. They were the only ones left from the earthquake, and they were in Kathmandu, which wasn't even where the worst of the earthquake was, and they were only like under 10 years old.
She was one of just 3 Kiwis taking part in the expedition and the only one from Dunedin. She says she's no longer taking things for granted after seeing the plight of others firsthand. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
Just under 400 residents have made submissions to the Dunedin City Council about proposed changes to local bylaws. Many relate to the possibility of imposing further restrictions on pet dogs in public places. This week's 39 Dunedin News online poll asked you if you feel that dogs should have to be on leads at beaches and sports grounds. 55% of you think that they should, 45% no. The University of Otago is dealing with fresh claims of sexual and racial harassment in and around campus. Authorities are also concerned about general disorder in the student quarter, and it's possible more CCTV cameras will be installed. Next week's 39 Dunedin News online poll asks if tertiary students need to be more closely monitored. You can vote at our website dunedintv.co.nz. And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. Police officers are teaming up with Plunkett staff to run a safety campaign on seatbelts and child restraints in an effort to save lives. Hundreds of the country's top athletes are vying for Olympic selection at the National Track and Field Championships at the Caledonian. And a local veterinary practice has achieved a top national industry standard, one of only 3 in the country to do so. Well, it's time now to take a look at what's happening in Saturday's Otago Daily Times, and we're joined by Dave Cannon-Wash. Good evening.
Pen down.
Thank you.
Righto.
Our
Good.
sound person will be very happy.
Well, tomorrow, of course, Saturday's newspaper, it's the biggest paper of the week, and we were lucky to get everything in. We've got so much stuff tomorrow, so as well, worth buying the ODT on a Saturday, of course. If you've been following the saga of the South Dunedin mud tanks following the June floods last year, I suggest you read tomorrow's ODT. We've got a very interesting development there on the front page. Can't tell you any more. If you're interested in playgrounds, children's playgrounds, we've got a big feature on that tomorrow. There are things out there called destination playgrounds. We don't have one in Dunedin, so we've been investigating what we do have in playgrounds for children, obviously. There's a surprise appearance going on pretty soon by the band 660 in town. Woohoo! So we're down there trying to get some space down there and get some photographs. Of course, we've covered the athletic champs today and first day, and yes, heaps.
Heaps and heaps. Thank you, Dave. That is tomorrow's ODT. It is time now for local weather.
This weather report proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorn Sportsville.
Here is today's city view. It's taken of Logan Park. And it has been a sensational day around the city. 22 degrees in the CBD, 27 at the Gardens, 26 out on the Tyree. To the situation, and a mild nor'west flow blows over the country, although we may feel some effects of a weakening cold front which will move past the southern districts on Sunday. To the forecast for the main towns on the lower South Island for tomorrow. Strong nor'westers with rain for Invercargill, Gore and Te Anau, all on 18 degrees. And gusty nor'westers at Alexandra with high cloud, 23 degrees. Fresh nor'westers with the risk of showers for Queenstown, a high of 20 there. Gusty nor'westers with high cloud for Oamaru, Wanaka and Twizel. And Dunedin tonight, fine with an overnight low of 12. Tomorrow, high cloud increasing with nor'westers becoming fresh and gusty. Scattered rain may develop briefly in the evening with a high of 24, and definitely my pick for washing day. Although you probably couldn't go too wrong with Sunday, which is expecting sunny periods and westerly winds at a high of 18. And to the Otago Pallet Fires tidal and fishing information, low tide tomorrow morning is at 8:10. High tide on Sunday afternoon is at 2:30. And fishing is not recommended tomorrow, but conditions do look a little better on Sunday, especially around 11 a.m. And that's all from a team here at 39 Dunedin News for this week. We will leave you now with some shots from the week that was, and we'll see you again on Monday. Good night.
You were my friend all along. You would play your part, make me strong. Now I follow my heart. See where we are. Don't you know what I mean? Don't you know what I mean? Through my mind. See where we are. Don't you know what I mean? Now I follow my heart.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.